my friends, and welcome to episode 69 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone. So the end of June 2022 marked the 12th anniversary of Bill Aucoin's passing. As we all know, Bill has always been recognized as the fifth member of KISS. At the Kiss Army Nation podcast, we wanted to take a moment to celebrate Bill's life, memory, and legacy. Our guest tonight is the sweetest human being you can ever meet, besides being an outstanding professional in advertising.
I owe Tom another $20. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Besides, being a fantastic human being, as I said before, outstanding professional in advertising, marketing, and promoting music acts, Roman has been Bill Aucoin's longtime partner for 16 years. So this episode is a tribute to Bill, so we will certainly discuss personal and business topics with a member of his close family. So ladies and gentlemen, please join us to give a warm welcome to Roman Fernandez. Welcome to the show, Roman.
Thank you both. And thank you. Listen, like I said, I'm sorry it's been difficult to try to line up this schedule and get his lineup correctly, but I really do appreciate the fact that you give Bill Aucoin a platform, to get the message out.
Well, thanks for being part of the show. Just to give some time to us on your busy schedule. So it's really appreciated. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah, to second that sentiment, Roman, again, thank you so much for being on the show. It's truly a pleasure to have you on and to see you again. It's been quite a while, eh?
I can't remember. You know what's funny? I
New
was
Jersey Kiss Expo.
I was gonna say, I think that's where I've seen you most. Yeah. Were you at the Rockin' podcast last year?
No, the Rockin' Pod, no.
Okay, so it's been at the Kiss Expo.
The Kiss Expo.
Excellent.
Yeah. Excellent. So, as mentioned in the introduction, you've been Bill Aucoin's longtime partner for 16 years, and we'll talk about Bill in this episode. But before we do that, we want to know a little bit more about you. So, who is Roman Fernandez? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I haven't got a clue, my friend. I just try to figure it out as I go along.
Don't we all, eh?
Yeah. Well, most of my life has been like that. Who am I? I that's a difficult question to answer. You should talk to my shrink about that. I'm a guy. I mean, I've spent my entire life really involved in music and advertising. First playing in a couple of bands in the South Florida music scene, and while I was doing that, I was also going to advertising school, and I started my career in advertising. And I've never really been able to step outside of either one. I'm always somehow I've got my foot in one or the other at any given time. I've never been able to surrender either one fully. Although at the time, I'm mostly really committed to advertising. Music has really taken a back seat, especially over the last, I guess, since like COVID, really. Not because of COVID per se, but a couple of the contracts that I had with bands ran out. It didn't make sense to pick them up. Advertising was going well. And that's it. I'm just an advertising marketing guy that's really into music and was at one time, a long time ago, in a galaxy far away, a musician himself.
Yeah, so tell us more about that. Your passion for your music, your early years working as a musician in South Florida. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, working as a musician is kind of I don't know if I was working as a musician. But I did play in a couple of bands. The passion for music, where I don't know where that came from. I think actually, you know what? I've done these podcasts so many times that I kind of feel like a robot. But every once in a while, a new memory kind of comes to mind. And now that you've asked me that question, actually, it did trigger a memory. I actually grew up in Puerto Rico. I was born in Hayward, California, and my parents moved to Puerto Rico when I was like one. No, yes, maybe. Yeah, I was like 1 or 2 years old. Now I moved to Puerto Rico. by the time I was 3 or 4, we had moved to a beach area, Puerto Rico. And yeah, I must have been 4 years old. And at the time, there was all the rage about this, you can't call it a boy band. It was like a children's group, but it was a bona fide music group, I guess, from Spain. And the music would play on the radio, and it appealed to my demographic, affluent 3 to 4 year olds. And I thought the whole thing was fun. And then this band from Spain came to, I lived in a complex in Puerto Rico on the beach. It was made up of 3 buildings, which were mostly vacant during the course of the week. But on weekends, everybody would come in, like everybody goes to the Hamptons, from New York during the weekends. People would come from over the city, and the place would get packed during the weekends. And one weekend, this group from Spain showed up, and they were just there. And I remember being, what's the word? Not awestruck, mesmerized, almost bewitched by the fact that this music group was in my building. And I don't recall if I ever talked to them or whatnot, but I think, again, since you just asked me the question, this is, like I said, I haven't had time to think about this. It literally just triggered this memory. And I don't think I've ever spoken even to my friends about this, but I think that triggered something in me. And I don't know if it was, certainly with, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know if it triggered something with the music business. Well, who's interested in the music business when you're 4 years old? But I knew something magical was happening, and I don't know what it meant, but I just felt it in my bones. And soon thereafter, growing up in Puerto Rico, we didn't get a whole lot of rock. There were some rock stations, and I actually have vague memories of the first songs I can recall, which I think were like Sister Golden Hair. I heard it at a marina in Puerto Rico, My Sweet Lord. A couple of songs that always stuck with me. I didn't know what they were until I was a little older, and I heard them, on rock radio. But all those memories growing up in Puerto Rico, I think they started to kind of form I don't want to call it my passion for music, but there was some kind of, it just felt bewitching. It felt there was some kind of magic about it. And then when I did come to Miami when I was 10 years old, I think my dad gave me a little Casio keyboard. It was like a toy, really. But I think that changed everything. I just started picking out tunes on the piano. I remember trying to play Betty Davis Eyes on it. And that led to, listening to more music. And then my brother was an avid music fan. And I'm sorry, you guys from Montreal or Toronto?
Yeah, Montreal.
Yeah,
Montreal. Well, in any case, one night my brother was out partying, doing God knows what, and I raided his cassette tape case, and I came across Moving Pictures. I listened. I already kind of knew side one because all those songs were played on the radio, but then I heard first song on side 2, which was The Camera Eye. That was not only the moment that I became a loyal Rush fanatic, but I think that is when I woke up and I said, oh my God, this is what I want to do. That's when the music bug hit me. It was November 18th of 1983.
Oh, you remember that?
Wow.
Because there was something happening on that date. I'm not going to get into that story, but I was trying to escape what was happening, and I listened to that and I said, oh my God, I couldn't get past The Camera Eye. I just kept rewinding and rewinding. And that's when I said, okay, this is for me. And I bought my first bass guitar, started playing, blah, blah, blah. And there you go.
Wow. So Roman, you were mentioning at the beginning that it is very hard for you to kind of split between your normal work, which is advertising and marketing and music. So, your whole life has combined these things. And then is that how you met Bill back in 1994? That's because of that?
No, actually not at all. I was in '94. I was at my second ad agency, and I was really unhappy. And I was playing, not in my first band per se, but we're the first band. Oh God, it's actually a long story, and I don't want to make it too drawn out. But let me put it this way: I just committed to playing in a band. It's a band. It was a bunch of friends. It was four friends that have been playing for years. A couple of the members were in another band. And that band actually tracked down Bill in New York and flew him down to Miami to see that band.
Okay.
That didn't work out. And Bill had said, poetically, he said, I'm not interested in this band, but if you two guys were to get together and do something, I would be interested in that. Well, those two guys and I were the ones that have been jamming for years, doing this nothing, just playing in a garage and whatever. So what happened was, they said, well, yes, actually, we do have another project and we're about to release an album. And so the album came out. We were about to play our first show, and Bill came down and saw our very first show. Wow. And our second show, which was the following night. And that is actually how I met Bill. I was not working in music whatsoever. I was working in advertising, and I had this band as a side thing.
Okay, and what are your early memories of meeting Bill? So could you describe him in a few words? What was your first impression?
He was really obnoxious, man. He was so obnoxious. I say that with love because obviously I think the world of him. But I get a kick out of saying that because most everybody who meets Bill is like, oh my God, he's such a great guy. He's the nicest guy, and he is. And if you're a fan, he'll give you the time of day, and he'll sit with you and talk with you for hours. But we were meeting him in a different context. And you have to understand that I was in my early to mid 20s. I was 24, right? 24, I think. And I had been told that Kiss's manager was going to come down and see us. And the first thing I do is I become very guarded, and I put up a wall. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm very skeptical about A, B, and C. And he came down, and did you guys ever meet Bill, by the way?
No.
Either one of you?
Yes.
Yes.
He was at a convention here in Montreal.
He was. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get to hang out with him? And
we talked a little bit at the convention, not really hang out after the convention,
okay.
But during the convention, yeah, we talked. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you once you get past the initial talk and all that, and you just start letting down your guard and having fun, Bill can be a lot of fun. Bill can be like a kid on speed. He is just blah, 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 blah. And he's all on. And he's just joy, exuberance. And it was a lot coming in for the first time I met him. I was expecting kind of button down, suit and tie kind of guy, from New York. And that's not what we got. What we got is like, hey, what's up, blah, 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 where's the beer? And hey, are you guys having fun? And, blah. And I'm like, whoa, too much, man, too much, too quick. So that was the first night. And then the second night, we actually had to drive to Orlando, to the, not the House of Blues, the Hard Rock, for our second gig. And I was exposed to Bill for the entire drive up, the stay, and the drive back down. And he was not what I was expecting. Not necessarily in a good way. It didn't leave a good impression on me in that I didn't take him seriously as a business guy. That's not exactly true, because he sat us down after the second show and he said, listen, here's the good, here's the bad, here's what you did right, here's what I would like to see more of. And that kind of that gained my respect. But then we're at the bar and then we're driving back, and he's a menace. He is like, as I've said, if you've seen Home Alone, he's like Macaulay Culkin alone in the house, running around like crazy. That's kind of Bill. And it was a lot. It took several months for me to get to become comfortable with Bill and get to see the side of him that isn't so exuberant. And then things were a little bit more even keeled.
Mm-hmm. So as we mentioned in the introduction, in this episode, we want to pay tribute to Bill. So I could imagine, after spending so much time together, You must have countless memories and moments with Bill. Can you share some of those highlights with us and the audience?
Yes, I can.
I can see you picking them out.
Well, you fed me that particular question. I was thinking, what's a story I can tell that I haven't already told? And I can't really think off the bat. I was hoping that, like a while ago, it triggered that memory from when I was 4 years old. I was hoping when you asked again, it would trigger a memory that was new. But I really can't. There's one classic story. Do you know about the pyramids of Egypt? Have you heard the story?
I don't think so, no.
No.
Oh, really? You haven't?
No.
Then it bears telling again. So I'll give you my favorite story with Bill. This is in the year. Actually, this is at the turn of the millennium. Right, we're going from 1999 to the year 2000, and I had made. Gotta cut the story short. I had made a pact that I was going to go to the pyramids of Egypt to spend the millennium there with some high school friends. Of course, I was the only lunatic who actually took it seriously. And Bill thought, oh, that's a fantastic idea. And one thing that if you don't know Bill, one thing to know about Bill is Bill can take anything and make it bigger and bigger and bigger and make it explode. Anyways, so I thought, okay, we're just going to go, to Egypt and blah, blah, blah. Any case, so he says, yeah, that's great. So we booked a hotel, blah, blah, blah. And long story short, we take a trip on camelback into the Sahara to go to the Great Pyramids of Egypt. Mm-hmm. And we're heading for the Great Pyramid of Giza, which you can actually go down to the heart of the pyramid. I don't know if you know, but you can climb up the surface of the pyramid, and then there's a chamber that leads down. And so in any case, actually, there's a lot of stories. I'm going to stick to this one. If there's more time, then I can tell another one. But so Bill and I said, yeah, let's go ahead. So we start climbing up the pyramid. They only let people down one at a time, and only 4 people can be in the chamber at any given time. So both Bill and I climb up, and the chamber, right, the entrance is like halfway up the pyramid. Or maybe it's not even that way, not that high up, but it felt that high up. So then you have to climb down the chamber, which is like a long corridor that goes from the surface of the pyramid diagonally down to the heart of the pyramid. And only one person can climb down at a time, and you have to climb backwards, right, down this ladder. So he starts climbing down backwards, and I take a picture. And he gets down there, and I start climbing down, and we finally get to the main chamber where you find all sorts of odd, whatever you find in a pyramid, I guess. And so we're in there, and we're taking pictures of each other, right? This is before smartphones or anything. This is 99. Mm-hmm. So we've got a little disposable camera, and we're taking pictures of each other posing with, vases and whatever.
Yeah.
And then we hear 2 people coming down the ladder, and they finally get there, and it's a young couple from Sydney or Perth, or I forget. And young guy, probably about 20, 24, 25 years old, and his girlfriend, wife, I don't know. They're like, hey, how you doing? How are you? We're from Australia, blah, blah, blah. And so we said, listen, if you don't mind, we've been taking pictures of each other, but it's kind of lame. Would you mind taking a picture of the 2 of us? And so the guy's like, oh, absolutely, mate. Yeah, we'll do it. So we pose. The guy brings up the camera. He's about to snap. And before he snaps the photo, he pulls it down. He goes, I'm sorry, but I have to ask you this. Would you happen to be Kiss's manager, Bill Aucoin?
Oh, wow.
No.
And what's funny about this, besides what I'm about to tell you, is that by this time I had been with Bill for about 4 or 5 years. And that whole thing was starting to get old. It was like, I'm thinking we're in Egypt, we're in a pyramid, a 5,000-year-old pyramid. We're free, man. What's going to happen? Right. So for that to happen was mind-blowing. You want to know the real funny part? So the guy was in a band, and he had a freaking demo, and it was in his wife's purse.
Oh, wow.
And he says, would you mind having a listen to what are the odds that you're in a pyramid in Egypt, and this guy's in a band, and he's got a CD? So, and as I've said, that CD is somewhere. It never got thrown out. I've looked through Bill's stuff, and I can't find it. But if this guy from Perth or Sydney, if you're watching this, please get in touch with me. Go to Bill's website or whatever. We need to touch base again. I don't remember what the band sounded like, but that was the most mind-blowing moment of my life in a solitary pyramid that's 5,000 years old for something like that to happen.
Unbelievable.
No, I believe it. I mean, Kiss is everywhere. Like them or not, they're everywhere. You can't escape them.
Yeah, but at the same time that we're there at the turn of the millennium,
Yeah.
for a guy in a band, Hollywood can't write that.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That was stupid. So there you go. There's a few others, but we can come back to it if there's time.
Sure. So we all know that Bill, has built that empire that is Kiss. What would you say are Bill's biggest accomplishments, both inside and outside of Kiss?
Okay, inside Kiss. Well, that's I can give you the bullet points. I mean, first of all, he took a band that was completely toxic to the industry. Nobody wanted to touch those guys with a 10-foot pole. Yeah. And he managed to swim upstream in 1974 to do something that, again, nobody wanted to deal with, let alone anybody, the record labels, the radio stations. Luckily, he had Neil Bogart by his side, who he had met during Flipside. I don't know if you want to get into all that, but the point is that he made it happen despite the fact that he was fighting an entire, not just the record industry, but the radio industry. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted it. And he still made it happen. So that's number one. Number two, the live stage show. Listen, Bill didn't plan everything on the stage show, but Bill is the guy with the big vision. And he transformed what a live act could be. And to this day, people employ a lot of the same tactics when they play a live show. And it's not, I don't think it's a mystery that Garth Brooks has even pointed out that one of his biggest influences for a live show was Kiss. Yeah. So he set a standard for what it is to be a live music act that transcended rock. It just became the thing. And again, he didn't do it single-handedly. And by the way, I need to start tipping my hat to some of the people. Kenny Anderson. Yes. Kenny Anderson, who was the production manager, had a lot to do with that. But yeah, that was a second, I think, feather in Bill's cap. The third was, as you said, nobody has had a music merchandising empire like Kiss has. Mm-hmm. Nobody. And listen, again, much credit to the band, who I think was eager to go and run away with any idea. And of course, Paul and Gene have taken that to the limit. But I think Bill saw beyond the, he could see what was outside of the box back in 1974. And yeah, of course, people did t-shirts and did posters, but Bill took it to the limit, to the point where he actually started a merchandising company that everything went through, instead of just licensing everything out to a third party. So that gave him control. So those are three major points, I think, that are memorable when you're talking about, Bill's accomplishments as it pertains to Kiss. Outside of Kiss, man, you just had to know Bill. I wouldn't necessarily point out an accomplishment outside of Kiss, so much as I would point out a way to live. He had this lust for life unlike anybody I've ever met. I mean, he was literally intoxicated by life. He had a joie de vivre, as you say in French, that I've never met, that I've never come across. And he had a magnetic personality. And this is something that I think, if you interview anybody else that has ever met Bill, run this question by them. He was like, you also Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. Star Wars. The Death Star had the magnetic beam, right? Yeah. Anything in its past, that's Bill.
That's
If
him.
you were in his zone, it just brought you in. It was just, it's difficult to describe because I don't know anybody before or after who's been like that, but it was powerful. I would say it's so powerful, it's almost scary, but there's nothing scary about it. It was coupled with the fact that he was such a hopeless optimist. It just gave you a new lease on life. If all you could see in life was to here, after having 5 minutes with him, your sights were now here, and that just doesn't go away. That's the other thing. He had, again, accomplishment, I don't know, but he had this almost superhero power to just change you in a matter of minutes to a level where there's no going back. You're just a different person. And that was certainly true for me. And good, bad, or indifferent. Because listen, a lot of, just like Kiss, listen, Kiss could have gone horribly wrong. It went right because he was surrounded by the right people. He had that kind of magnetic personality. Neil was into it. Neil bought into it. I never knew Neil, but from what I understand, Neil worked his ass off. But I think Bill's, that hopeless optimism behind a band that should have never been, I think became contagious, and is part of the reason why it worked. Meaning, absent of Bill, absent of that chemical reaction for people to go, oh my God, yes, I see it now, I don't know that it would have ever happened.
Yeah.
The band may have been signed somehow, somewhere, in some fashion. It wouldn't be this. It would not be this. This was, and I would say it's, well, I can't say it's conceited because I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about Bill, but I don't think it could have happened without his touch. Without his touch, I think the band would have been relegated to,
one more band.
Any other band that didn't make it this far.
One more band, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you Roman, you picked the right words. Just I know it's hard to explain and to describe Bill, but I think it's the aura, right? So the energy that maybe he had, that kind of magnetism, that even he was dealing with 4 different personalities like Jim, Paul, Ace, and Peter, but they trusted him 150%. So that's why it happened, because they knew that he was right. He was the right guy.
And you know what? And you're right. However, I want to be careful about the words that I use, because when you say energy, aura, it starts to sound a little bit mystical, and
okay.
It really wasn't that. And again, if you've ever met him and spent time outside of Pasquale, outside the meet and greet, it wasn't a meet and greet, but outside the formalities of, hey, great to meet you, I love this. Once you got past that and you started talking about substance, is when you realized, okay, there's just a lot of substance here. Okay. So it's energy, yes, but you're right. There is an energy, but there is meat and potatoes to that. You don't walk away going, ooh, I feel funny. It's you go, oh my God, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And I think that's where a lot of it came from. I mean, listen, I don't think Neil would have taken a chance. I don't think Warner would have taken a chance at funding this. They kind of didn't, actually, after a while. But yeah, without some meat and potatoes, outside of just sheer, energy. Yeah.
We all know that, speaking of Kiss, so he basically stopped managing Kiss in the early 80s. And then I think he moved, managing acts like Billy Squier and Billy Idol. So if we get more into the business kind of discussion, what was his management style? So what kind of adjectives would you use to describe his approach towards, his customers, his clients, his inner circle?
Yeah, so obviously I can only relate to the groups that we worked on together.
Okay.
I haven't talked to Squire or Kiss about his style in managing them. And when Bill and I were together, we never talked about his style per se, but we did manage at least one act together. as a partnership for a number of years. And I saw him also manage a few other acts. So great question, by the way. First of all, he's very hands-on, extremely hands-on. That said, he is, to a great degree, very cautious about, how do I say this? He's very hands-on with the artist, and he's very hands-on in the creative process, but he is extremely careful not to get in the way of the band's creative nature.
Okay.
In other words, he doesn't want to get in the way of the band's creativity.
Mm-hmm.
But he does work very much hand in hand with the group, with the groups I worked with him on,
Mm-hmm.
On a very, very close level. He also, and again, this might be a little bit different from the Kiss days and Squire days and the Idol days, but when we had the partnership, and the biggest partnership we had was with a band called Nothing Rhymes with Orange, which I would say was really my project. Bill came on and quit a couple of times out of frustration. But I was doing a lot of the day-to-day.
Okay.
So when you talk about his style, when it came to that particular band, he would let me handle those guys. I think because they were probably a little bit closer to my wheelhouse. They were not a typical rock and roll band like Bill was used to. They were more along the lines of, I don't know if you're familiar with like Interpol, or
indie, kind of indie rock.
Yeah, a little Oasis, The Church,
right,
stuff kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Bill, I think we can still speak to Bill's management style. He would let me handle that end with the group. And so with those guys specifically, Bill would take care of the big picture. And that mostly had to do with the powers that be. That had to do with record labels. We never landed a record deal, by the way. But he dealt with the big picture stuff. And of course, if I ever had issues, I'd go to Bill, and Bill would say, well, try this or try that.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill was indeed, and actually I can tell you also from, like I said, I was in a band when I first met Bill, and Bill was actually actively managing us for a little while. And Bill was very particular about what he wanted to see on stage, again, without interfering in the creative process, but letting you know, listen, he never, actually, I think he said this once, and the words are coming to me now. He would never tell you, I want to see you like this, and I want to see you like that. He would find out who you were as a person. And Bill was really keen at this. Another feather in his cap is he was a great people reader. He kind of, and not that he was spying or anything, he just knew how to pick up on people and knew what made them tick and made them feel very comfortable, and vice versa. So upon meeting members of a band, he'd try to get the inner you out of you and exploit that. Not you have to wear a cape or you have to wear boot. No, it's just, who are you at heart? Let's talk about you. Let's talk about what makes you tick. Let's build on that. Let's do something with that. And he could take that to the limit. I think that probably has maybe not the most to do with his management style, but most to do with his artist development style. Was trying to find out who you were, and not just aesthetically how you look, but how you played. If you're a shredder, he might say, well, let's talk about, again, without interfering, but let's talk about you and why do you play this way and whatever, just to get you to explore different things, but always trying to find the true essence of you without putting a number or a label on you.
Understood. That's very well said. So I guess he knew exactly which buttons to push, so to get the best out of you.
I'll tell you what, if he was a cult leader, that could have been scary, because right. he was very, very good at that. He wowed a lot of people that I did not see him wowing. meaning that I did not foresee he would, like my mom, for instance. That was that's on another podcast, but to introduce my mom to Bill was an event.
Right.
By the time brunch was over, dude, my mom was singing his praises. Amen, love that guy. And he wants to come over and drink some Cuban coffee, eat arroz con pollo, and they were buds. And they were, anyway, he was, I would almost say scary that way. But I mean, he just knew how to form a bond with people.
This is fascinating, Roman. So we can't thank you enough for all of this that you're sharing with us. But and speaking of sharing, did he ever, I know that you guys, maybe you were not talking Kiss all the time, that's for sure, but did he ever share some inside information why he ended his business and somehow personal relationship with Kiss?
So first of all, to make it clear, Bill and I, in the 16 years we're together, we may have talked about Kiss 5 times.
That's right. Yeah, that's what
it didn't come up. And partly, and again, part of the reason I ended up with Bill is because we didn't care so much about the past. It was all about the present and the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I take that back. We did start talking about Kiss when Bill reunited with Kiss for the DVD box set, right? When Bill had the rights to the black and white footage of was it the Coventry?
The Coventry, yeah.
Coventry show.
Yeah.
And then of course Kiss became a daily topic because it was something current. But to your specific question, Claudio, I can actually remember one night when we were sitting at the dining table and that came up, and I'm not sure even why it came up. We were actually talking about Joyce Bogart. I'm looking away from you because I'm trying to jog my memory.
Yeah.
And somehow we were talking about, the end of Kiss in the context of this conversation about Joyce. And I know that he had said that they were looking for different things at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I know both sides of the story. I know the band had issues with, Bill was partying. And he sure was. And, but not only that, and if to correct you, Claudia, if I may, he didn't leave Kiss and start working with these other acts. No, by 75, 76, he was already involved. He started becoming involved with Piper, which was Squire's first band. So now he was handling Piper, and then he was handling Toby Bow, and he was handling Stars, and he was handling New England. He was stretching himself really thin
already. Okay.
He never told me that was the reason, but it's plain to see. I've heard not so much Gene, but Paul talk about it. And absolutely, if I were in the band, I'd think the same thing. Man, you're stretching yourself a little thin. There's a lot of partying. We don't see you as much anymore. But in Bill's mind, I think it was because they were looking for different things.
Artistically.
And I think they were, because the band was looking to take off their makeup. Bill didn't want that. Bill was busy. Idol was just kicking into high gear. Idol was kicking ass like Kiss was kicking ass in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill's attention's on Idol, so I get it. They were in different places by that time.
Fair enough. Thank you.
So Roman, you mentioned earlier on that you're not a Kiss fan, but
let's okay, hold on. I've been crucified about that. It's not that I'm not a Kiss. I mean, listen, I grew up listening to rock, and there's many songs in the Kiss catalog that I really enjoy. I just never became, when I think of a Kiss fan, I think of you guys.
The diehard
Kiss fan.
I never became that. I mean, I never bought a record by Kiss. Then again, I never bought a record by Beatles either.
Right.
So again, I just want to be fair because I've been crucified about this. I have a lot of respect for the guys, but I just never became a diehard fan.
Well, when you see Kiss, especially Kiss from the 70s, don't you see Bill? Because Bill's stamp is all over 70s Kiss.
That's a more personal question than you might think it is. I kind of don't. Bill to me is two different people.
Mm-hmm.
There's Bill, the person that I know, and then there's that guy. And this is difficult to articulate.
Mhm.
But no, I don't see the Bill that I mean, I do, but I
Well, you know
It's two
other
different
Bill,
people.
so you know the real person, so you
Yeah.
know other Bill that we don't, right? That's why.
it's I mean, Pascal, yeah, it's yes, I do, but no, I don't.
Mhm.
I know it, I see the pictures, but to me, that person's almost a stranger. And
Right.
yes, he has all the attributes of the person that I know now. I don't know how to explain it, but to me, they're almost two different people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know how else to put it.
So to move along, you know, being Canadian, I'm interested in this. Two of your favorite bands are Canadian.
Certainly my all-time favorite band, Rush.
Rush.
And by a second, I'm guessing you're thinking of Triumph.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're one of my top favorites, although I love that
Triumph.
band and I've seen them many times live. And my friend Kathy, actually, I wish Kathy was on this podcast. She's had a number of run-ins with Triumph, and I think I became a Triumph
Because of
fan partly because of Kathy.
okay.
But certainly Rush. Rush was, as I described earlier, they were my catalyst, I think, for crossing into the industry. But fair enough, Triumph was definitely up there, and I saw them many times, and I still think the world of that band. Yeah.
Okay. And what I didn't know is you were thinking about moving to Montreal.
Yeah, but where do you get this stuff, by the way? You're
Oh, I got it.
Hey, we
do the
prepare.
homework.
We
We do the
prepare.
homework. eh?
I'm trying to think where I might have said that before.
Well, you said I remember reading somewhere, and I was kind of doing my research, and you said in the 80s you were almost
it was
you were
89,
almost
I think.
almost get there. Just moving to Montreal.
It wasn't so much that I was thinking of moving to Montreal. It was I just graduated school, college. No, I was in advertising school, and I was in the middle of a break. I took like a year break, and my brother was dating a French Canadian girl, as he tends to date most French Canadian girls. It was a time when I was looking to leave South Florida, and I thought any reason I have, I'll go on any kind of little trip. And my brother was taking, they were driving to Montreal, from Miami to Montreal, and they said, "Do you want to come along?" And I already had a fascination with Canada because of Rush and because of Triumph, and call it shallow, but it was what it was. I said, "Absolutely, I'll go." And so we drove up there. We didn't stop except literally for meals. So we got up there like in 32 hours. And my brother's girlfriend starts, driving me around old Montreal, which was freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
Jesus. And I started saying, I think I could live here. So we actually started looking for places for me to live. And we actually found a great little spot in a mansion. I couldn't tell you where in town it was, but it was outside of Center City. And it was a huge mansion, and they had converted all the rooms into individual apartments. And it was phenomenal. The rent was super cheap. And I thought, oh my God, why wouldn't I do this? And so I looked at the apartment, and then blah, blah, blah. I go back to, my brother's girlfriend's family where we're staying. And they're talking about waking up, shoveling snow in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And the thought, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, man.
It's not for me.
It was good. Well, yeah, it was great for about 30 seconds, but yeah, I'm not.
That's right.
From Miami to that,
It's and actually, listen, the truth is, the Miami weather can be a little bit. I hate the humidity in the summer like it is now, but I don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to shovel snow. So. I'm fine. I'm fine here. Thank you very much.
So
I love Montreal.
Oh, it's a fantastic city.
Yeah.
So I want to go back a little bit to 1994, when you started a working relationship with Bill. So what was it like working alongside Bill at that time?
So it happened. Yeah, that wasn't in 94. It started happening. It never became like an official thing. He started saying, he'd kind of kid around like, I wish you'd leave advertising and come work, with me. Like, ha ha ha, who's going to pay the bills? because Bill at that time he was just coming back into the music industry. He had a little company down here with a partner. No money was being made. It was funded, but no money was being made. So I didn't really entertain that notion. He was just kind of pie in the sky. But as it turns out, I think he was laying the seeds for something that would happen. So it happened kind of organically, and as Bill was working with a few groups, and I was kind of interested, although I was in advertising, I was interested in going, well, that's kind of interesting what he's doing here. And I'd say, hey, Bill, and I'd give him an idea, and I'd help. I started helping with marketing here and there, and just no big deal. But when it really happened officially was when this band Nothing Rhymes with Orange, who I'd never heard of, they were a local band, they were playing in town, and my friend was running front of house for them. And he said, hey, I think you should come here and check these guys out. I think you'd really be into this. And I went to go see them. And sure enough, it was, at the time, they were kind of an In Excess, Duran Durani, the Church kind of thing. They morphed a little bit. But I'm like, oh my God, yeah, we don't get this in South Florida. This is awesome. So I started working with that band alone. And I developed a college radio campaign. I pulled that out of my ass. Can we curse on this show?
No, but it's okay.
So I just started doing stuff for them. And I think Bill is the one who kind of took notice and said, what's going on with you? All of a sudden you're doing this stuff. Because you have to understand, it was a little bit, not weird, I guess, but Bill's doing the music business thing over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing advertising over here. And all of a sudden I'm doing music over here. Well, he's doing music over here. And he's going, well, wait a minute. What I do that. So he says, well, let me see what these guys are about. And I think that's what kind of cemented our working relationship. Mm-hmm. I would go on to stay in the advertising world. I never left it. Like I said, I had a foot in each industry. But so that must have been around 2003, 2002, 2003, when he started kind of coming over to Orange and saying, okay, let's do this. Let's work on this together. And that's about when it started happening. Was that your question? Or
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
So that was it. And then we worked on Orange until he died, really. And I think we probably worked on a couple of other acts, a little bit here, a little bit there, but Nothing Else with Orange was really our pet project together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Roman, we just wanted to touch on a very specific moment in history, which is when the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We do recall that you were there in the ceremony, representing Bill, with Gigi, with Peter. And you might remember there was a lot of drama, the previous weeks, amongst the members of the band. How did things go that night? And what do you think about that?
That was a really messed up period, man. Mm-hmm. That was because they were inducted in 2014, right? But I found out that they were going to be inducted in 2013. Bill hadn't been gone 3 years yet. So first of all, to get the news, and it was Gigi and Peter were actually the ones that told me that they were going to be inducted. And to get the news was incredibly bittersweet, because Bill was gone, right? And Bill had talked again at the dinner table about the fact that Kiss would never be inducted. It was just a fact. It was a known fact, because of, we don't need to mention names, but there were people, from Rolling Stone, from the Hall of Fame, who just didn't want it to happen. And Bill was totally cool with that. Bill didn't need that kind of validation. The validation came from, where it matters, everywhere else. But had they been inducted while Bill was alive, I think it would have been a hell of a parting gift. Instead, it happened 3 years after his death. So I was feeling very bittersweet about that. And let's not tap dance around it. It was kind of a shitty time because there was a lot of mudslinging happening between the bands, between the band members, between the band and the Hall of Fame. And that only made me feel crappier about the whole thing. I don't know if you know, I put out a statement. I'd never put out a statement up until that point, because I'm like, people, get your
stuff together.
Come on, be cool, man. This is happening.
Yeah.
Figure whatever. Just don't be mudslinging and trash talk, dude. Treat it with some. Yeah, maybe I get it. They're treating you like shit, but man, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I put out a statement, which came back to bite me in the ass. I think Eddie Trunk is the only one who put it out in its entirety. But the press all cut it up and wrote versions of it that were kind of crappy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, that was not a great time. That said, I can't give enough thanks to Peter and Gigi, because they reached out to me and they said, there's no way that we're going to be inducted and Bill not be represented somehow.
Of course.
So, and they didn't just score me a ticket, which, by the way, do you guys know how much those fucking tickets go for the floor?
No.
Like $25,000.
Whoa.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So in any case, so they didn't just score me a ticket. They scored one for me and for Bill's sister. Bill had two sisters. One passed away a year after Bill, but he had one remaining sister. So real Aucoin blood was actually present.
Nice.
Hail to Peter and Gigi. Man, I don't care what anybody has to say or not say or whatever, but to pull off a miracle like that on a floor like that, sitting with fucking George Lucas, a few tables from him, and I'm humbled in the truest sense of the word.
Right.
The night was it was magical, but we had to go through some awkwardness. There was some mix-ups about the table. The way that the hall set up the event was kind of odd. Sitting through, and listen, Bruce Springsteen, hey, much respect, but sitting through 3 hours of Bruce Springsteen being inducted was a lot, to the point where Bill's sister was like, okay, we gotta go. I'm like, well, we can't go yet because, but it was awkward. That said, it was, I'll say, validating, even though Bill would never say that. I felt the industry had to validate it. Whether Bill felt it necessary or not, I think the industry had to validate that the band should be in the Hall of Fame, as I thought Rush should be in the Hall of Fame. So again, this is not because of Bill. It's just, come on, guys, get your heads out of your ass.
That's right. Yeah.
But it happened, but it was awkward, man. It was the things kind of went weird that night. And then, the band didn't end up playing at the end of there was supposed to be a big jam at the end of the night. And the guys didn't. It was just, the whole thing was just really awkward.
Yeah.
That said, my experience at the table, because I was sitting with Betty, Bill's sister, Eddie Trunk, Ace and Ace's girlfriend,
Rachel,
and a couple of other people. So as far as our bubble was concerned, we had a great time.
You had a great time. Okay.
The whole event, the whole thing was, I can't thank Peter and Gigi enough, and I'm happy I was there. But it was kind of weird. It was supposed to go different, but it was what it was.
Good. Thank you for sharing.
So, Bill's contribution to rock music and the rock industry, it's undeniable. And we know that there's a large group of people, including yourself, who are trying to induct Bill in the Hall of Fame. Can you tell us more about that?
I wish Tom Feely was here for that part, because he's got this part down.
That's Tom. That's right.
For those people that are watching and don't know, Tom Feely is a friend. Actually, I don't know if you guys know this. Tom Feely actually came into the fold because he was managing Enough's Enough. You guys know Enough's Enough?
Yeah.
He was managing Enough's Enough in the early to late 90s. And he wanted to he knew he could only take it to a certain limit, and then he wanted to hand it off to someone else or co-manage with somebody else. And he went to Carol Kay. Do you guys know who Carol Kay is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Bill's PR, one of his PR people.
Yeah.
At Aucoin Management. And Carol said, oh my God, you should take it to Bill. Took it to Bill. Bill and Tom became friends. I met Tom. And we all kind of became friends. So after Bill passed away, we had this idea to get Bill inducted. And listen, Tom is he's a little bit older than I am, and he's a man with more time and means than I've got. So Tom has been able to take this campaign around the world, literally around the. I mean, he's taken it to Melbourne, Australia. He's taken it around the U.S. And I go whenever I can. But Tom is really the one who's taken the person-to-person lead on that. So, but to answer your question, yes, there's no reason that Bill should not be inducted. He should have been inducted when Kiss was inducted. In fact, Bob Lefitz, what the hell's his name? He's a music journalist. And when he found out that Kiss was going to be inducted, he said it actually before I even thought of it. He says, well, if you're going to induct Kiss, you can't induct Kiss without inducting Bill.
True.
Very much like the Beatles. When the Beatles were inducted, Brian Epstein should have been inducted. But actually, Brian Epstein was actually inducted after a 13-year campaign. And I don't know if you guys knew that. I just found that out recently.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, without Brian Epstein, there is no Beatles. Now, I don't think you can make that same argument for a lot of bands, but certainly Brian Epstein and the Beatles is one of them. I think you could argue that the Sex Pistols and oh shit, his name escapes me now. Their manager. No, Sex Pistols. I
don't. I know who they are, but I don't know the manager.
Malcolm, or whatever. But without Malcolm, there would have been no Sex Pistols if I've got the name right. So yeah, and same thing with Kiss. So that was really the first instance that I heard it, and I said, yeah, actually that makes sense. And then I did a podcast with the guys from Michael Brandvold and
Three Sides.
Tommy.
Yeah, Three Sides of the Coin.
And they said, so I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And so, we put the website together, or we not a website, we the petition site.
Yeah.
And and I thought, well, we can do this, but Tom is the one who said, man, let's take this all the way. Let's get celebrities and artists to pose with the Bill Aucoin card with the poster.
That's right.
And I'm like, that's not really something that I do, but it's within Tom's sphere, and he's got the ability. I'm like, bro, run with it. And so he did. And that's how we started doing the Kiss conventions and everything else. And God bless all you guys, again, who've let us in and do this at your conventions and do our little, dog and pony show. But that's kind of how it all came about. But really, Tom deserves a great deal of the credit for that.
Absolutely.
At the forefront of it. And not just that, I'm sorry, but the Bill Aucoin anniversary, as you said, every year. And that's something actually that started more intimately. That was just Bill's friends would get together at the place where Bill and I would spend most of our time, a little watering hole on the water here in Hollywood. And we would all get together on the anniversary of his passing. And it kind of grew, and more people started showing. And Tom's like, hey, let's go live with it. Let's do the thing. And so that's kind of how that started happening. So yeah, Tom's been very much hands-on in giving this thing breathing room.
So what I was going to say is that we really encourage everybody who's listening and watching just to reach out to Tom, and sign up on the petition, to induce Bill Aucoin into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Specifically, you don't have to reach out to Tom, although Tom would, I'm sure, love that. But you can go to inductbill.com. That's easy. Inductbill.com.
Okay.
Sign up, and if you want to leave a comment, you can. It's going to ask you for a donation. You don't have to leave a donation. That money does not go to us. Inductbill.com. Go. Cool. And
Cool. Great. So now, speaking of paying tribute to Bill, so not so long ago, it's been announced that there will be a Neil Bogart biopic, Spinning Gold, recognizing Neil's influence and input into the music business. So how does Bill play into this movie? Do you know? He's going to have a role there. So what kind of?
I don't know. I first found out about this movie the year after Bill died. So this is 2011. So this has been going on for a while. And I'd seen Joyce Bogart, Neil's widow. And she had told me about this project and blah, 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 and possibly. And I don't know if you know, this movie has been in development since then. It's gone through a number of incarnations. Justin Timberlake was on board at one time to play Neil. Oh my God, oh my God, who was going to direct? The guy from White Man Can't Jump. Oh my God. Okay, anyways, so it's been through a number of iterations. The last one, Neil Patrick Harris was going to play Bill. And Neil actually started doing the talk show circuit, sporting the Bill mustache. That went south. But from what I understand, production is wrapped on that. At least principal photography. Actually, I think all photography is wrapped, I think. I believe they're in post-production. Michael Ian Black is playing the role of Bill Aucoin. I don't know how extensive his character is in the film. I've yet to find out. So, but I'm sure you've seen the clip, right? There's a clip on the internet. So I thought it was poetic that the clip actually opens up with Bill, or Bill's character. I don't know if that's a testament to how much his role is going to be in the film. I'm going to have to guess it can't be that much. I would guess maybe for the beginning of the film, or to establish the point where Neil goes from Buddha Records to Casablanca, right? Because that's Bill-centric, and the launching of Kiss. But then beyond that, there's everything else to do with Casablanca that really has nothing to do with Bill, like you know, Summer, the Village People, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to guess. If I had to guess, I would guess Bill's role is going to be relatively minor in the film. I wouldn't guess he's going to take up more than 5 to 10 minutes screen time on a good day. But that's purely my guess.
That's right. We'll wait
I
and
have not talked to the production team about that at all.
Okay. So within your busy schedule, Roman, with all the companies you're running, so have you ever thought of running a project to celebrate Bill's life through either a movie, a record, a theater play, a TV special, or
Who
something
else have you
like
been talking to? Yeah, listen, it's
in the works.
Was it a secret? Was it a secret? It's not a secret. It's something that's been talked about since like a year after Bill passed away. There's been close calls regarding documentaries. There's been close calls regarding feature films. For one reason or another, they haven't panned out. Will there be something?
Most certainly.
We'll see, but
okay.
It's definitely not a no.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So Roman, I want to go back to you a little bit because you're a pretty busy man. So you are currently managing acts, including Spider Rockets and the Superfuzz?
No, actually, I'm not.
Not anymore.
You're not a busy man.
I was, but Spider Rockets just texted me right before this interview saying, "Hey, Roman, can you help us with this?" So yeah, no, I haven't really managed anybody in a handful of years. I still help out a couple of groups. The Superfuzz doesn't really exist anymore, but I'm very close friends with the members. We're very close personal friends. Actually, the bassist and I and my partner Joe and a few friends are going to London in a couple of months to hang out. So I'm friends with all these people. But I know the only with Spider Rockets, like I said, I still help them out a little bit. We're developing a video. I help them out wherever I can, but I'm no longer managing any musical acts. I am hoping to maybe develop something that may have something to do with Bill. We'll see if that happens. And there is a video I'm developing for Spider Rockets. We finished one last year that actually we entered into the film festival circuit, actually around the globe, and we did pretty well and won a few awards. So I owe them this, and I got to finish this project with them. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot. I'm really trying to concentrate on putting the bacon on the table, as Matt Porter knows. I'm all about the bacon.
Okay. So, Roman, so as we're wrapping up the show, that there's an obvious question that comes up. So we've talked about everything that you guys are trying to do to keep Bill's memory alive, but how would you like Bill to be remembered?
I get asked that question a lot, and I never have quite the right answer. Because look at there's the obvious, right? I mean, take a look at the music industry, and part of the reason it is what it is because Bill had his hand in it. Or take a look at Kiss, or take a look at Billy Idol, take a look at Billy Squier, or Piper, or any of those bands.
Yeah.
To me, that falls. It's not that falls short, but past, like you said, when I see 70s Kiss, do I see Bill all over that? And yes, I do because I see his work acumen, I see his idea, but I don't feel Bill there. So to the question that you're asking me, I always kind of try to describe what he was like, and I've told you a little bit. He was kind of like Santa Claus, and kind of like this, again, magnetic personality. By sheer happenstance, something happened a couple of weekends ago, and it alerted me to a song lyric that I thought captured Bill. And if you want to remember Bill, I'd say think of this song or look it up if you don't know it. Are you all familiar with Willy Wonka?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The movie?
Yeah, of course.
Are you familiar with the song World of Pure Imagination?
Not me.
Okay, if you're not, look it up, read the lyrics.
And
that's Bill.
That's
okay.
Bill.
So don't think of Bill for something, think of Bill as something.
Right.
Read those lyrics, and that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
If you haven't done so and you want to know more about who Bill was, like I told you, every year we do this tribute to Bill on the anniversary of his passing. We do a toast to Bill. In the year, the first year of COVID, that would have been 2020. We couldn't do it, right? Because everybody was under lockdown. So I had this idea to do a video tribute. And I put out a call to a bunch of people in the industry, friends of Bill, artists, people from Aucoin Management back in the 70s. Oh, you've seen it.
I saw that.
So for those who are watching this, I haven't seen it. If you go to Google and just Google Bill Aucoin 10th anniversary, it's a 1-hour video of a bunch of people that worked with Bill, that knew Bill, or were friends with Bill, or were managed by Bill, telling you who he was. And I think they do a much better job than I can in the course of this interview at telling you who Bill was. Look that up, because I think it's a good 1-hour watch.
It is fantastic.
Nice.
It is fantastic. And as I said before, Roman, so we can't help but coming emotional, with everything that you're saying about Bill, and having you in the show. It's been a blessing. So thanks for your time again.
Thank you guys again.
We can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
No, I can't thank you guys are giving me the platform. I'm getting something out of it. I'm not sure you're getting much out of this, but
Getting plenty out of this.
I'm getting something out of this. So thank you guys very much.
No, so are we, believe me. Roman, you and I met a few years back at the New Jersey Kiss Expo, and we talked a little bit, but I never really got to know you.
Was that the first time? The Jersey Expo.
Yeah.
That's right. That was the first year that we did that, I think.
I think so. This was new at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were such a colorful personality, man. I remember you from way back then, But again, I got to see like the surface side of you, and that's what I love about this podcast. Interviewing people like you, get to know you a little bit deeper, a little bit better, and we want to thank you for, again, being on the show and just being so real and so genuine with your answers.
Oh, this is all made up and rehearsed. This is all made up and rehearsed.
I doubt that.
Please, don't.
You're really good at that. You're really good.
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, I work at it.
No, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you, because you're giving me a platform for something bigger. So thank you.
Absolutely. So to the Kiss Army, if you want to get involved with the Kiss Army Nation podcast, send us your comments, questions, or ideas to talk to me at kissarmynationpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe on YouTube or follow us on Spotify, Automatic, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to make yourself heard. Leave us a comment on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. See you all soon, Kiss Army.